So nearly every year for the last few decades, the tech world has descended on Las Vegas to get a first-hand look at the latest and greatest products looking to be the next big thing for the upcoming year. Hundreds of thousands of products have risen on the show floor and also fallen completely flat. So let me tell you some stories from somebody who's been on the show floor for 13 years and also show you some of the coolest stuff they've got here now and also revisit how some of the stuff of years past actually ended up doing. TVs and CES have been best friends for a really long time. This is where we saw some of the newest technologies are now commonplace. First time we saw OLED, mini LED, QD LED, all the technology we saw debut here at CES. And sort of keeping with that trend, translucent is like now a thing. So look what LG is doing. It is a translucent box, essentially. That is a TV. And if you look at it, it looks kind of like strange, right? Like we can see through it. There's a film that can come up to make it look like a regular TV, but when it's down, it kind of gives like a holographic 3D effect, which is technology we've seen a ton of at CES in years past. I can't tell you how many years companies tried to make 3D technology a thing. I'm not sure if translucent technology is going to go that same way, but it certainly is incredible to see. And like, speaking of TVs, one company that's kind of synonymous with TVs is Roku. So they didn't debut here, but they did debut their streaming stick here at CES 2012. And obviously, that did pretty well for them. They also showed the first iteration of Roku TV here at CES. So I kind of got an early look. And honestly, I kind of blew off what Roku was doing for a very long time. And then they started to get really good, really efficient, started to see them everywhere. So listen, I was wrong about Roku. I apologize. Probably a few things in this list I'm going to be wrong about too in about 10 years. But it's really cool to see the evolution of a company like Roku. Although I will say, after all those years, Roku's UI still looks almost identical. So while Roku was a success, sometimes things don't always work out. Razer's been really ambitious, showing off some crazy prototypes at CES in years past. They showed off one called Project Valerie. It kind of solves the problem of what if I want to work on a laptop or game on a laptop, but I also want an ultra-wide monitor. What they did was, it was a laptop with 3 separate screens. I saw it, I tried it, it worked really well, but then it was gone from existence. I doubt we'll ever see it, but another kind of cool use of CES is a place to kind of showcase some technology, even if it's really never destined to come out. So you can't really have a best of CES list without talking about smart lights. They came onto the scene fast, and they've stayed strong, and sort of the ruler of a whole smart light space. Actually, this video sponsored Govee, whose lights we have in the studio, whose lights I have in my house, and whose lights I am itching to put in my backyard. And they are bringing it this year like they tend to do every year. First of all, their booth looks pretty epic. So this year it's all about AI. There's also a ton of devices now that support Matter. So walking through the whole Govee booth, first of all, you can customize pretty much everything. Outdoor lights with AI was really cool. So they have some steps. As you walk up the steps, the lights change. I thought that was really awesome. Also, they're using AI with an assistant, so you can sort of set the mood. Instead of having to go in and say, I want the blue hues up and red hues down, you can just say, I'm watching a Laker game, I'm watching sports, or I'm watching an action movie, and automatically set things for you. We still have in our studio the TV lights that got updated this year as well. Some cool scenes for action shots, or if you're watching a movie. Last year we got a chance to check out what Govee was doing for gaming. This year they are using AI and adding HDMI 2.1 support. So support games with up to 8K resolution. That is a big update to an already awesome setup. Govee is the best name in lights. They bring power, they bring efficiency, they bring AI and functionality. Most importantly, they bring all of that at a really affordable price. If you want to check out anything that I talked about here or a ton more Govee products, of course, you got a link down below. Taking up a huge portion of the show floor pretty much every year is like tech for your house. How can tech make your life easier in a lot of ways, make it like way more complicated? The years past used to be like cameras and smart locks and that kind of thing. But like everything this year, it's like AI, and then also tech that can like feed your dogs. So there's a lot of AI optimized things to go about your house. We got things you'd expect. We got robot vacuums, robot mops, robot bird feeders. We got AI built into toasters, pans, appliances, kind of AI built in to absolutely everything now, kind of permeating all aspects of your house. This category, I think, has changed the most over the years. It went from like, let's just throw tech into everything to now, Let's throw AI and tech into everything. And if there's one area where I think there's a lot of room for growth, it's here. Probably one of the biggest success stories here, like in the history of CES, is Ring. Fun fact, they were actually based in the same building as the original Techno Buffalo office. I got to know those guys pretty well. Obviously, you know what Ring does. They were bought by Amazon, but long before that, they had an idea to make a doorbell smart. But like all small businesses, it was hard to get financing. And my favorite Ring memory was a couple years ago at an event where, first of all, I got to meet Shaq, which as a Laker fan, I'm still excited about. But I went up and introduced myself to him. I said, hi, my name is John. My screen name is John for Lakers. I love you so much. He looked at me dead in the eyes. I mean, down at me. I was like, I know you. And that was probably one of the happiest moments of my life. It was a really cool experience. But Ring is definitely one of the biggest success stories really in the history of CES. In recent years, especially after Microsoft stopped giving the keynotes here at CES, sort of big product announcements stopped, cars have taken over a big portion of CES. And we have seen over the years some insane concepts, things that are never going to hit the road, and some that surprisingly did. I remember a few years ago being able to see the Fisker Ocean at a very small booth and clearly thinking, that's never going to hit the road. Most recently, I think surprising was when Sony rolled out a car that nobody saw coming, and it appears it's actually going to be a real thing. So it's called a Fila, and they're partnering with Honda to actually bring this out to market, and they brought it out on stage being powered by a PlayStation controller. Now, I doubt that's ever going to be a thing that you would ever do, but seeing Sony find a partner and get into the automotive space kind of symbolizes that everybody's kind of moving into cars, but there are still a ton of cars happening here. But before they end up in the graveyard of automotive history, at least I can say I saw them. Speaking of the one I saw in 2015, actually at the Panasonic booth of all places, the original Model X concept was here. And obviously see a lot of Model X on the road now. Back in 2015, that was nuts to see in person. You can tell it's a concept. It had the old sort of nose cone that the Model S initially had, but seeing those Falcon Wing doors for the first time in person was awesome. And look at the car. See, a lot of this stuff never actually made it to production. But again, CES is a place where a lot of technology makes its debut. The show has changed over the past 13 years, as have I. Those first few years here are some of my greatest memories of all in tech. I mean, filming on my own and editing 15, 20 videos almost per day. This is the first place that actually I got to have and experience LTE. CES always has a special place in my heart. It's where I get a chance to not only see friends or latest technology, and as somebody who lives and breathes this stuff, CES over the past almost decade and a half, it's kind of become a part of me.